AJ.
It's your boy Nick.
This Hip Hop Vibes, the podcast. What's poppin' with you, bro?
Ain't nothing, bro. Just chilling, man. Excited for the podcast.
All right, fast. So first, the Super Bowl just passed. So we have to talk about the halftime show.
Halftime show, man. The greatest halftime show
in
the history. And there's been some good ones. There's been some very good ones.
It's definitely my favorite.
This is definitely my favorite. There's no question.
I ain't gonna say it's the best.
No
it's
question.
It's definitely my favorite because you had Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar.
50.
You brought up 50. Anderson .Paak was there.
Anderson .Paak was there. Yeah.
All I needed was a Tupac hologram. That's all I needed.
Bro, that's hilarious. That's what I told my wife. I was like, Tupac, they better bring Tupac out.
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I needed, bro. Like, y'all played California Love. You was playing I Ain't Mad At You. You might as well have the hologram.
Bro, you're right.
I remember, like, when I first found out that was going to be, like, the halftime show, I looked at tickets automatically. And the cheapest tickets was, like, $3K.
My, yeah.
And that was nosebleeds. But I was like, oh, nah. I ain't that rich. I'm like, nah.
But I appreciate the ambition.
Bro, I would pull up there, no problem, to see that joint, bro. But I'm like, nah, I ain't got that. I ain't rich, bro. Unfortunately. Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah,
Got a manifest. But I ain't there yet. I'm like,
yeah, that was amazing. And I'm giving very little credit to the NFL because you know what it took to get that was all the bullshit, Colin Kaepernick and all that bullshit. I feel like some of that was them trying to make up for really a lot of racism and a lot of bullshit that the NFL's been doing for a while.
Right.
So I'm glad, but I'm happy. But I'll focus on the positive. The positive is we got to celebrate hip hop at the biggest sports game in the country. 97 million people watched the game, bro. 115 million watched this year. 115. I bet that halftime show brought in like 5 million people.
I only care for the halftime. I mean, it was a good game though. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't gonna hold you. That was a good game. Like the game as a whole was good.
The game was good. The game was good.
But I was just there for the halftime show. That's all I cared for, honestly.
Right, you said you were gonna spend $3,000 for the halftime.
Yeah,
not for the fuck the football game.
Right. Like, honestly, nigga, I would have just left. Like, if I was there, I probably would have left after the halftime show. I'm like, nigga, I'm good. I get to see Dre, my favorite producer of all time. I get to see Snoop and Eminem, both of my top 10.
I don't know.
Kendrick,
I don't know what I would. I want to piss myself, bro. Literally, like, I don't even know what the fuck I would have done. I would have been standing there in disbelief.
I was in that joint.
The fucking hip hop Avengers, bro. That's the hip hop Avengers.
Right.
Literally.
I was in that joint crit walking, bro.
Right. And we'll talk about this on the show. I was so excited to see that, and they didn't take out some of the lines about we don't like the police, and I'm so glad they didn't.
It's like they cleaned it up, but they cleaned
it up a little bit. But no, Kendrick still said we don't like the popo.
Yeah.
He still said it, and I'm glad because this is supposedly America. We're supposedly be able to speak our minds, supposedly be able to do free speech. So I'm glad that I was embraced, and the fact that even gang culture, which is looked at as negative and it's bad. You know what I mean? Usually. Even that got celebrated. People crip walking in the fucking
blood bouncing.
That was a very special moment to me. That was very special because usually it's like, okay, it's got to be clean. It can't offend anybody. That's the total opposite of like hip hop. I don't give a fuck about that. Like you know what I mean? Like for right or wrong, offending people isn't like something that rap artists should be worried about.
Right. Snoop out there with the Crip outfit on.
Yeah, blue. He was all blue. Like,
right. I mean, like,
that was great.
Right, I enjoyed it. What was your best part about the performance?
The best part is probably gonna be stupid, but the best part was literally the first second when Dre appeared. I was like, how is Dre gonna appear? And he was in a fucking studio, and I was like, bro, because I'm a producer, and I spent a lot of time behind my little studio, and when I saw him with this giant white, like all white monitor and board. I saw myself sitting there. I was like, this is the coolest fucking shit. Because at the end of the day, Dre, he's a performer, he's a rapper, but at the core, he's a producer and even mixer too.
Right.
And people might not know that part. But for me as a producer, I was like, oh my God, a producer like me, a producer is like the center stage act. So when he started out like that, I was so excited. I was like, oh shit, he's about to like, he's like the director about to direct a huge movie with all these superstars. I was just so excited, probably right when it started. But I mean, there's so many good moments. There's so I can't even 50 upside down.
Right.
Like the chain was in his mouth and shit. Like
someone said 50 Cent turned to a whole dollar.
Right.
I was like, come on, bud.
That shit was great. I mean, there's so many good moments. Eminem did his thing, and I'm glad he took his little knee. I didn't notice that actually at first, but he took a knee or whatever. I heard later on he took the knee.
His knees was heavy.
His knees were heavy, right? He was tired, right. His
palms were sweaty.
Here you go, right?
His arms heavy. My bad. His palms was sweaty. His knees was weak, and his arms was heavy. After the performance, he's like, "Yeah, bro, I gotta take a knee real quick." Like, yeah, thanks.
Oh my God, man. Mary J did her thing. We were so hyped, bro. Like literally me and my wife together at the bar. We were the most excited. Yeah, we went to Buffalo Wild Wings in Rockville.
Okay.
We were the most excited people. Like that was the most exciting moment, and we were the most excited people. She loved Mary J's performance. I love Mary J's performance too. I mean, they had everybody, man. That was Kendrick. I mean,
except Game apparently.
I know, right? I was about to say that. Like, I'm sorry, JC but bro, you are not on that level of that. At least in my opinion, you are not. In my opinion, you are not quite on that level.
You don't have enough commercial songs to play. That was the main thing. That, like,
well, that's true. That was
the thing too. Like they play like their like commercial songs. I mean, they still hit like still DRE. Next episode, now what you think? Lose Yourself in the Club.
Yeah, it was all good shit, like classic shit.
Right, and then Kendrick playing All Right, and was it Mad City? I was getting confused between Good Kid and Mad City.
Yeah, I think it was Mad City.
Mad City.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Mad City. Yeah, that's Mad City.
Yeah.
That was. I thought that was an interesting one to choose. She could have chosen more radio friendly. He could have done something. I was like, that's like the hard to me. That one and the one with MC8 were like the two hardest.
That's the same joint. It's like
it is. Yeah. So that to me was like the hardest track on the album.
Oh, it definitely was.
Like it was the most gangsta one. So leave it to Kendrick to make like a statement. You know what I mean? He could have done something a little more.
But at the same time, that was probably like one of his biggest songs, though. To be honest,
it was a big song.
Yeah,
it was, but I wouldn't say it was a commercial song.
Fair point.
I mean, swimming like his early ones. His early ones were like swimming pools. This is like a little single.
Yeah, but he needs something to more bump to it though. Like he couldn't play it like Poetic Justice.
Nah, so
right.
whack, bro.
Not with that. No, not with that type of.
Not at all.
Not with that roster.
No.
So he had to play that.
He didn't play Love or some shit like that.
Right.
Or like, he has ones that even Loyalty. He could have played Loyalty or something like that. I mean,
and then have Rihanna come out.
That would have been dope.
Just sitting on the side, so we're just singing.
Right, as she usually does.
Right.
But no, I thought it was great. I thought overall, I mean, every single part of it was amazing, bro. They had the fucking Impalas driving around and shit. Kendrick was, as my wife pointed out, he was like choreographed dance. Like he was dancing. He was like that whole group of like dudes that were like dancing, and he was like in the middle. It was so cool, man. It was just so great.
Right.
It was so great, man.
All the fraternities are gonna be doing that step now. That's gangster rap for you.
Gangster rap.
It's crazy how far like gangster, quote unquote gangster rap has come.
Right.
It was like, I mean, it's still kind of like looked down on,
socially, societally. Yeah, so we could talk on that because I think so first let's say let's identify who are the gangster rappers at the Super Bowl. Who are the gangster rappers? Like, what artists represent gangster rap to you?
At the Super Bowl?
That were at the Super Bowl, yeah.
50.
Yeah, definitely.
50, Snoop. Those are really the main ones. I mean, Dre rapped about it, but like, he didn't really like live it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I see.
But he's definitely beneficial to like the whole genre, so you can still throw him in there. That's really. I want to say Kendrick's a gangster.
Well, no, I think that's a good question though. Do you have to be a gangster to make gangster rap?
I mean, there were a lot of people who did gangster rap that weren't gangsters, so not necessarily not.
Yeah, because I think that's a good question. Like, Dre for me, like, definitely represents gangsta rap.
Yeah.
Like, definitely. Even though, like you said, like, Eazy-E was the one with the actual, like, street credibility in that group. I mean, yeah, because, like, we'll break it down from here, because, like, I was going on Wikipedia looking up, like, in the encyclopedia, what is a gang? Like, what is a gang? We all have an idea of what a gang is.
Yeah.
But, like, what is a gang? And the definition that I actually mainly agree with was an organized group of people who are involved in, like, illegal shit, often violent, but not always violent, usually have some kind of territory or symbols, whether it be throwing up gang signs or whatever it is, like tattoos, whatever. Right. Like, that's what a gang is. And gangs have been in the United States for a long time. Some of the earliest gangs were like Irish gangs in New York and shit. Mm-hmm. Even in D.C., this is a crazy story. Federal Triangle used to be called Murder Bay in D.C. Federal Triangle, because it was run by a bunch of, like, pimps, and there were just tons of hookers everywhere. And, like, that was back in the Civil War. And that's where actually the name hooker came from. I found that out today. Oh, shit. Literally all those prostitutes in Murder Bay, D.C., were there during the Civil War to serve the John Lee Hooker, the Confederate general's army, and that's how the term came hooker. Damn. So that's just a little. I give that history lesson because, like, gangsta and gang, like, I think there's some confusion about it, so we can break some of that shit down because, like, even hip hop, gangsta rap, like, gangsta is not synonymous with rap. Yes, there is a subgenre that is gangsta, but there's other sides to it. You know what I mean? It's not just one thing.
And originally it wasn't even called gangsta rap. Originally it was called fucking reality rap.
Reality rap, yeah.
Right, because people are rapping about what's going on around them. Like, they seen, like, pimps to the prostitutes and, you know, like, gang members and drug dealing and all this other shit. So like, that's just what they see.
That's just their reality.
So that's their reality. So they're gonna rap about this shit. Like, they're not gonna rap about some shit they haven't done or haven't seen yet. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, a lot of people still do that, but in that era, it was about, like, the authenticity of it. Right. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So, like, then, like, of course, and everything was fine until the white kids started listening to the shit. And then all of a sudden, now it's called gangster, right? Yeah. And all of a sudden, now it's called gangster rap, and now it's bad, and now it's promoting violence and just that and the third. I'm like, nah. I mean, violence has been going around since way before rap even was a thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, like, right. And now, am I going to say did it make it any better? No, but it didn't contribute to it. Like, gangster rap had nothing to do with school shootings. We don't rap about school shootings. Right. That's a good point. Man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a good point. Maybe Eminem, but Eminem's probably the only one that's done that. But
he's had a lot of firsts. He's had a lot of firsts in his career. For real, bro. Yeah. That's a good point, man. I think that's a good point what you just said, though, is like how, you know, because it wasn't reality for some of the, including myself, white kids that are consuming it. So for them, it's like, it's this equivalent of a movie like Goodfellas or Scarface. It's like, oh, this is gangsta entertainment. It's not real. It's separate from my reality. It's just like entertainment. It's like Hollywood, or like they might, and as a young listener, they might think, oh, that's not really happening. It's just kind of like, oh, they're just kind of bullshitting. It's not really real like that or whatever, until you find out the hard way. But yeah, man, I think that's a good point. That violence has been around long before. Like I said, in America, like a lot of those early gangs were immigrant groups from Europe who, you know, established gangs. A lot of it, Irish and Italian immigrants coming from, you know, different places. But I think also, like, you look at the origins of hip hop. So like in that time, in the late 70s, the Zulu Nation emerged from reformed gangs. Yeah. Gangs who initially, some of these different gangs, there's like 3 or 4 of them, like the Savages, there's a couple different ones. I was reading about Black Spades. Mm-hmm. They were reformed gangs who initially were following like Nation of Islam and like other spiritual kind of things. Mm-hmm. But then like, so with some drugs getting involved, people started selling drugs. Some people were involved in crime. eventually they reformed themselves to like focus on a more positive mission, which was Zulu Nation, which was like positivity and peace and whatnot. And then hip hop came from that. So I think there's some belief that like hip hop came from gangs, and in a way, yes, it kind of did, but it was like reformed gangs, and it was more of like a party, an outlet, a method of expression, an alternative lifestyle to that, which I still think is valuable to this day, because I would much rather have somebody talk about going to shoot somebody than somebody going to do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like,
and then also back then, we was still now like a lot of people who were like big time gangsters, like drug dealers, stuff like that. They were like funding like the rappers, just the groups and stuff like that. For example, like Eazy-E, like he funded NWA, he funded Dre and Ice Cube and all them. Like he wasn't even supposed to be a rapper. They just randomly decided to throw the nigga in the booth because like, nigga, we rapping about you.
Right.
You're the one with the 6'4". Right. You the one with the money. Right. You the one that the streets doing this shit. I'm just rapping about it. So like, and then I think that's when it started going. Like that's when like I think after Eazy-E, I ain't gonna say after Eazy-E, because originally it was fucking Schoolie D, who was this whole we were listening to earlier. A lot of the gangster rap shit started from like him when his first album dropped. Like after his shit dropped, Ice-T came out with what's the shit, 6 in the morning. Yeah. Then after that, you got Eazy-E's Boys in the Hood, and then after that, like gangster rap just grew from there. And like so, like Schoolie D, low key like the pioneer, of gangster rap, but like Ice-T and NWA like elevated that shit.
Right, elevated that shit. Made it popular and shit.
Yeah, and then next thing you know, everybody's a fucking gangster now.
Right. I mean, from there, you know, going along the timeline, like you said, 85 was Schoolie D, 86 was Ice-T, and then 88 was NWA. Yeah. So like after that, like look at the popular rappers and like, you know, in the early 90s and shit, even like Wu-Tang and shit, like they're rapping about street shit. Biggie rapping about street shit. Nas rapping about street shit. Jay rapping about street shit. Big L rapping about street shit. Pretty much all the like.
Even all the way to fucking like 50 Cent.
I mean, yeah, we know definitely. I mean, keep going. You know, and I always
Death Row in general.
Oh, Death Row. Yeah, Death Row was the epitome.
That was the
right.
epitome
Suge Knight literally at the helm, like as the epitome of gangster rap. I mean, that's gangster business. That's gangster rap. That's gangster everything. You know?
I know, like after Pac and Biggie had passed away, or got killed, they started slowly trying to like get away from the gangster shit. Just started like rapping more about like money and shit, and like, you know, flashy clothes and stuff like that. Because if you think of Biggie, for example, Where Did You Die? All gangster shit. All like, it was dark as fuck. And then his next album, Life After Death, he was rapping about like money, clothes, hoes, all this shit. I mean, he was still doing that shit in Ready to Die too, but like it was more focused on like, you know, like I got money now, like all these women now. You know, like he's happy now. Like I know one thing I realized, like in the video Hypnotized, that's the first time you ever see that nigga smile.
Wow.
That's the first, like, as far as these music videos. That's the first time you ever seen that nigga smile.
That's crazy. That's a crazy observation. Damn. That's crazy, man. I never realized that. That's really crazy. No, for real, like, Ready to Die, honestly, when I heard that shit, even the title, I'm like, damn, this is like some depressing shit. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, it was depressing.
Especially with the last track, Suicidal Thoughts.
I mean, literally, bro, he spelled it out for you. Like, to this day, that's a gangster rap album. I mean, really is. I mean, a lot of them, Nas, all of them, like, and I would say, I think you're right. I think you're exactly right. Like in the mid late '90s, it kind of switched up a little bit after people were dying. Mm-hmm. Then like things were a little more just like material, talking about money. I mean, Hov was embracing that like times 10.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Hov was the definition.
I mean, of course you still had like
Versace suits and fucking whatever, all that shit.
Yeah, like, of course you still had like the gangster shit in between all that, but it started focusing more on like you know, the money shit. Then 50 Cent came about, then like kind of went back to the gangster shit for a little bit. And then Kanye came out.
Yeah, Kanye kind of challenged that shit. Yeah. Before we jump to that, do you think Hov is a gangster rapper?
I would say so.
I would say so as well.
Yeah, but he's more like on the laid back type shit.
But gangster though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, there's Snoop.
That's like everyone else is out here like, yo, I'm gonna do this and that. Jay-Z's like he just like come out and say I'm gonna do this and that, and he's just like he kind of like metaphors his way around it.
Right. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. I think it has to do with his personality a little different. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Sort of like laid back, but I don't know. It's funny to quote Drake on this shit, but because Drake is the opposite of that. But I think he said a line was like, I'm not gonna be the one who's gonna do the killing. I'm gonna be the one who like called the shot, or I'm on the yacht who like put the hit in or whatever. Drake's full of shit. But that's more of where I think Hov was like a businessman type shit. But I think I would still say he's a gangster. I would still say
I still put him in there.
Yeah, I would still put him in there, but I would not say he's like an ambassador. The way NWA is like, to me, is like the creme of the creme. Like that is like gangsta. Like they don't do nothing but gangsta. Like literally, you know what I mean? So yeah, so I would probably say Hov does, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I like that. Like I don't know if I would say he's gangster rap. Yeah, he probably is though. He probably is.
I'll throw him in there.
I probably would. But like you said, like 50. I feel like 50 was like
he was like the last. I ain't gonna say the last.
Yeah,
but he was like the last like gangster rapper for like from that era.
From that, yeah.
Cause then like once Kanye came out, he got like he had like what alternative hip hop.
Right, Lupe Fiasco.
Yeah, he did. Like Lupe came out.
Wale.
Yeah, Wale, J. Cole, Wiz, and all these other cats that started coming out. You know what I'm saying? Rapping about. I mean, they still rapping about money and shit, but like. It's not really
not about gangster shit.
For real. I mean, you still have other artists like Jeezy, Wayne was still doing a little bit of that.
Yeah,
Gucci, even though Gucci was more underground at that time.
Oh, he still got gangster records too.
Yeah, he still got gangster records. Rock with Flogger. By like what 08, 09, that was like the whole like, was it drill era?
Yeah.
Like with Chief Keef and all them.
Yeah.
And that's when gangster kind of like made his way back.
Right, in a different like form and shit.
In a different form, exactly.
Yeah, I feel like when I remember when 50 came out, I was definitely like, just to turn it back a few years, because I wanted to say something on 50.
Yeah.
For 50, it was definitely like, he is supposed to be like the fucking new poster child of gangster rap, because literally the whole like I got shot 9 times shit was like, that whole story was part of his brand. It was literally like, even on like cover,
right.
he's got the bulletproof vest on. I mean, like, it was so like, this is gangsta. Of course, Dre being in the background gave it that
right. And then of course Eminem signed him in the first place.
Eminem, all that shit, like. Yeah, you know, so and then Game follows. Game was kind of like a West Coast response to 50, but obviously not as prolific, and you know, but Game was definitely like another gangster. Game to me,
Game could have made it. You could have been there, honestly.
I think he could have been there too. Just I think some timing and then the beef and some of that shit.
Yeah, the beef.
But I always say the Game is solid, especially during that time, solidly gangster rap. Solid, straight gangster rap, like nothing else but gangster rap. Because some people have a gangster record or they have this, you know, but like Mobb Deep, they had a lot of gangster shit. But it wasn't just gangster shit, but it was a lot of gangster shit.
Yeah.
You know, Hell on Earth, Godfather Part 3, different songs, like real murderous shit.
Murder music.
Prodigy was the one in the street, Less Than Havoc, apparently. But like you said, like sometimes it's like, there's a difference between who's really a gangster and people that are promoting it. You know what I mean? Anyone could throw up a gang sign. Anyone could do it. Anyone with a hand could do it, but it doesn't mean you're actually part of that. But I would say if it's not gangster rap, like if you're not if there's not some affiliation, you know what I mean? Like I was saying like to my wife, I was talking about it, and like anybody have a gun on them doesn't make you like a gangster though. Exactly. Like it doesn't make you part of a gang.
Who said that shit? I think Immortal Technique said some shit like that. Like any nigga with a gun confront like a blood, even Puffy shot a nigga up in the club. I'm like, it's got a good point. Oh wow, that sums it all up right there. Yeah, that's a perfect example. And I feel like a lot of rappers right now, to fly ahead a little bit, there's still like that gangsta element, like a Lil Baby. There's a gangsta element there, but I'm not like, it's not as pronounced as other artists, like for example a young rapper like NLE Chopper, who like Crips like throwing up, you know, like gang signs in his videos. Blueface, yeah, like Blueface, like right. That's gangsta. Like that's the new kind of gangsta. And some rappers. The only thing I hate about like this generation of like gangster rappers is like, they're like more reckless than like the ones from back in the day. Because I feel like they gotta prove a point. And no, I seen like one interview with 21 Savage. He's like, you ain't gangster, like you just stupid. Like they doing all shit, they like they crazy. Like you ain't crazy, you just stupid. You just dumb as fuck. And I was like, but yeah, a lot of these niggas are just like reckless as fuck. like so many niggas are getting like killed or locked up over some dumb shit. Or like snitching, like literally snitching on yourself.
On the song, Bobby Shmurda.
I'm like, bro, like really?
That's a really good point. A point to prove. I see what you mean, man. I see what you mean.
And even back in the day, if somebody was like telling on themselves, they didn't like just up and say it. They like, you know, kept a low key. They did like subliminal shit.
Right. It was kind of like because they knew they were gangsta and people around them knew they were. They didn't have to go out and like go on Instagram and go fucking live and like show everybody or whatever.
And that's another thing too. Like I think social media kind of like fucks it up too, because you gotta keep that image on social media. That's probably not even necessarily true back then.
6ix9ine.
Right.
6ix9ine is a perfect example of that.
Don't get me started that nigga.
Alright, we can talk about that. We can talk about that. No. But no,
Snitch 9.
Snitch 9, that's really like that's a. I won't say his name, but I'm just gonna say that individual is a great example of what you're talking about, though. 21 Savage is another one. He's just straight gangster rap to me.
Oh yeah.
You know, and even like, and again, like,
and even then, like he grew like he knows
he's affiliated.
Like, he's affiliated, but he knows like, okay, I'm not gonna be just out here like just like doing all this stupid shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I wonder if some of the stupid shit comes from people's like insecurity. Like they gotta act. They have to act the role because they're not the role, so they gotta act the role. It's like just like someone that's broke, but like I want to pretend like they're rich, so they spend extra. You know what I mean?
But even then, it was like that back then too. The only difference, like I said, social media. There was no social media back then, so it was like
a little less pressure to like.
It's less pressure.
Shit. Yeah, that's a good point.
Like no one was like surfing on the internet, looking up artists and like and all this other shit.
I feel like people want people to be like quote unquote real. Like, you know, people like, because people like know their lives. Like, are they real? Like, they want to find out all this information and like dig up on information and shit. And so artists respond by being like, they create a fake persona because they know people are going to want to like find out whether they're real or not. And they end up making up all this bullshit.
One person who ain't fake though, the baby. People try him several times.
Right.
Just like that last fight he got in.
Oh, he punched that dude in the face.
Yeah, because you know the whole story, right?
I don't know the whole story. So I know like who that guy was, but I don't know the whole story.
So like, that was the dude was like the last joint he was messing with. Whatever, I forgot her name. What Danielle Lee, I think her name was. That was like her brother. I can't remember older or younger brother, but that was her brother. Yeah, and like he pretty much dissed her on social media or whatever.
Wait, didn't he have a baby with her though?
I think so.
He did.
He did.
Oh my God.
So yeah, that's
so messy.
Okay, yeah, it was messy shit. So like, the brother was talking all this shit, talking about when I see you was on site, this, that, and the third. Okay, so
Jesus.
Mistake. They saw each other. It was on site.
Mistake.
And now he's trying to sue the baby. I'm like, bro.
Of course he's trying to sue. What a fucking
how you gonna sue this? Like, bro, like, you said on site. He didn't say on site. You said on site. It was different if he said it and then he not sure.
Well, hopefully he loses that fucking case because he's the one that's in.
He started it. Right.
He initiated it. He was
Granted, the baby threw the first punch. As far as I know, I haven't seen the whole video. So.
Yeah, I've only seen the video right when it starts. When it starts, he punches him.
So everything here is allegedly, folks. Don't try to I ain't trying to get canceled on my podcast. We're on season 2. I ain't trying to get canceled on radio soon. None of that shit.
No.
But fucking old dude he started this shit. Like he the one to say on site. So the baby.
Right. That's
you think that shit serious?
No, I think he's a fucking whore, to be honest. Because I think really straight up, I feel like he knows. He's just trying to get like a case, trying to get some money or some shit. Because like honestly, man, like if you have any sense, you know the dude fucking murdered people already. You already know he's like confirmed killer, bro. Like why the fuck would you do that?
Killed twice.
Like twice. Fucking Walmart, bro. Like what the fuck?
And in his crib. Niggas ran up in his crib.
Yeah, ran up in his crib. Yeah. And then on the highway, there's a whole bunch of incidents.
That's nothing?
On the highway, you're going to shoot out on the highway. I don't think he killed anybody, but it was a shootout on the highway or some shit. I mean, it's crazy.
I know he knocked some nigga out in the mall.
Oh, wow. I mean, look, there's like 5 stories right there. I mean, there you go. Like, I remember he beat that dude up at the mall.
Yeah, because the dude came up to him.
Well, he was being ridiculous.
Yeah, the baby was just chilling. He was like, I bet.
Antagonizing. It's like fucking clout. We're trying to get some clout on Instagram.
Right.
So lame, bro. I can't even lame shit. But that's a good example though. The baby actually
is about that life. I ain't gonna say he's gang. I ain't gonna say he's gangster per se, but like you don't want to fuck.
Really, you don't
say
he's gangster?
I don't want to say he's gangster.
I'll probably
but
say
like,
he's gangster. I mean,
not by definition. I'm talking by definition.
What does that mean? I don't understand.
That's a good. As far as like it's not like he just out here like doing shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
okay.
He's not out here like starting shit.
Okay,
he
I
has
see
to
what
watch.
you mean.
You know what I'm saying?
I see what you mean. He's not on the offensive. He's on the defensive.
Exactly. He's on defense. That's what I mean by that. As far as like that, yeah.
You know, that's actually a good point. Because maybe I'm wrong about that, actually. Because maybe we're also talking about his person. There's a difference between somebody's person and their music. You know, that's a difference. But we're talking a little bit about his person. Like, is he a gangster personally?
Yeah.
And I say yes just because of the violent altercations he's been in.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about like gang affiliation, he doesn't promote any affiliation. You know, different rappers do. There's some of his other like people on his label do, but he doesn't. That's a big thing. I think again, like you're not a gangster if there's no affiliation. Like a gang is a group of people, an organized group of people. So I don't think that really makes him a gangster. Actually, I think he just came out of kind of like Lil Baby. Like I wouldn't say Lil Baby's a gangster. He just came out of street hustling. That's his background. And so with that high risk, violent occupation comes that shit.
Yeah.
Comes and to be honest, it kind of makes me sad that the baby still has to deal with this so fucking idiot people.
And plus, he grew up in like the whole gangster rapper. Like he's probably like a year younger than me. Like he was born in '91.
Yeah,
so,
he's
not that much younger than me.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So like he grew up like during like the '90s and 2000s. So like Pac, Biggie, Eminem, 50 Cent, Lil Wayne, all them cats. So like he grew up listening to that shit. So he probably you
can hear it in his music too. Definitely. I mean he definitely makes some like. I mean, I would say, he does make gangster. He has some gangster records, definitely.
Yeah, he definitely has gangster records.
He definitely does. But, I mean, like, again, I think for me, the affiliation is really key. Because, like, Snoop at the Super Bowl, wearing blue.
Right.
Like, that is, like, the epitome. To me, that's, like, the definition. And then you have other people who, like, might rap about gangster themes or content. But, like, Snoop, for me, is, like, I think he might be like the definition of it, to be honest, like the living definition. Easy, rest in peace.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Like for me, I think who would you say the most gangster rapper is? Like the most like definitive gangster rapper that you can think of.
As far as like,
that's a good question.
as far as actually being in the streets, as far as just strictly rapping.
I think because we're talking about hip hop as our show. I think I'm talking about just the music, like gangster rap. That's the question I meant to ask. I'm glad you said that because what I meant to ask was like gangster rap, like who is the ambassador? You know what I mean? If there was a gangster rap organization, who would be the president of that shit?
It's definitely NWA.
NWA, I can see that.
Those would be the main ones.
NWA.
You can't just pick one. You gotta lump all of them together.
That's true. You can't separate NWA into parts. I mean, I would say Ice-T, but he's on Law and Order and shit. So he's a cop now.
Right.
Rick Ross.
He did the opposite. He went from cop to rap. Ice-T went from rap to cop.
Right. That's different. And Hollywood cop too. Hollywood cop.
Hey, Rick Ross. I ain't mad at it. People grow up, bro. So,
no, I don't know. People trying to make a living. Right. Trying to make a fucking living. So.
But I know for a fact, honestly, I know if Nipsey was alive, he would have been that joint too, though.
Oh, absolutely.
If he was alive, he would have been the Super Bowl.
No, absolutely. What is it about the West Coast? I feel like it has when we talk about gangster rap, most of the people I think are like West Coast rappers.
That is true. I guess since it was not started, but like
Pioneer,
no, like
true.
in the West Coast,
NWA,
yeah. And then for there, like I say, you had Death Row, like Snoop Dre,
Dog
Pound,
right, that's probably
Pac when he joined.
Pac at West Coast as well, yeah.
And then of course you had like with E40 Too Short. They went. I won't say that was like. They had like E40 Too Short. Too Short was more like on some pimping type shit though.
Yeah, it's a little different. Yeah.
I mean, it's still like some hustling shit though. So you still hustle. It's still street shit. So at the end.
Actually, it is. I mean, that fits in the definition I was reading earlier. Yeah. It absolutely does.
Who else? Like MCA, DJ Quick. I was just looking at these names earlier.
There's so many.
Spice One. Yeah, it's just so many like in the West Coast. Exhibit.
Right. There's so many.
And like East Coast had them too, but like East Coast was more on that lyrical shit back in the day.
Right.
Until like Gangstas started popping, then you had Mobb Deep. Then you had like Nas, Jay-Z,
and even Nas, like
Big L.
Yeah, Nas is a gangster rapper. Like I'm a little hesitant to put him in that list. Like personally,
because he raps about it, but he's that's.
I agree. Why I understand completely why you mentioned him.
Yeah.
100%. But I'm just like, for me, early on, definitely like New York State of Mind is like a gangster rap song. Like he's talking about a bunch of gangster shit. He's talking about shooting up a fucking like apartment building, like literally. So that's gangster, but yeah, I think he's a little interesting. I don't know where I put him, to be honest.
He's more of like a storyteller versus like an actual gangster.
Right. I think that's another subgenre that we didn't touch on, but we mentioned, which is mafioso rap. So mafioso rap came around like mid-90s. Raekwon only built for Cuban Links, and Nas' second album, it was written where it's like, and even Mobb Deep too, where it was like their rappers talking about, like, they're giving a narrative that they wrote. They didn't necessarily experience, but for example, Nas, having listened to a bunch of interviews, Nas was more somebody who was on the peripheral of gang shit. Like, he would hang out with gang members. He knew them, but he wasn't like Nas hasn't been the most social person apparently, so he'd be a little more on his own. But he wasn't like deep in amongst it so much. Whereas, but he would hear their stories and then go home and like write like a story that was somewhat based off of that.
Exactly.
So that's like mafioso rap was like I feel like that was like the East Coast trying to kind of answer the West Coast a little bit. But frankly, I think the West Coast really had like the gang shit on complete on lock. And to this day, like you said, Nipsey Hussle. To this day, like, and I don't know whether it's just the Crips and the Bloods, like how strong they are out in the West Coast. I mean, obviously they're like international now. They've been international, but I think they still have a lot of control, specifically on the West Coast.
Yeah, because even like in the underground shit, you still got like Jay Worthy, G Perico.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All
them cats. Even Vince Staples, because he Crip, ain't he? And Vince Staples from Crip or affiliated.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I'm actually surprised to hear that. I didn't know that. Yeah. Roddy Ricch actually also identifies as a Crip. He also identifies as a Crip. Even some of the Atlanta, now this is I'm kind of going around, but Atlanta, Young Thug identifies as a Blood, Gunner identifies as a Crip. But yeah, I think the West Coast is like, for whatever reason, that's like more where the headquarters are.
Yeah, that's true.
Who's a white gangster rapper? I don't think I've heard of one, bro. I can't think of one.
No, what was that nigga name? Slim Jesus.
Dog, I was just gonna say that shit. That was the first thing that came to mind, was his stupid ass.
What happened to him? That nigga fell.
Oh, you know what happened to him, bro? I listened to an interview with him, and he was like, obviously I don't do the shit I'm rapping about because I have opportunities, and I wouldn't do some stupid shit like that. And once that came out, that he wasn't doing any of it, it was like, oh, he's a joke. Fuck him. Like, whatever.
This nigga's from Ohio.
He's from Ohio. He's like from, like, Ohio.
Not even Cleveland.
No, he's just from Ohio. Oh, my God.
That's what you don't do shit. I ain't worried about this nigga. All right. Anyway.
No, really, he was like, he would have been the one that we would talk about. But I'm just thinking, like, off the top of my head, I can't actually think of any.
Like, the closest one is Eminem. He don't even know. He's not even on no gangster shit. Because you think about others, you had Eminem, Booster Boys, Mac Miller, Paul Wall. Nah, exactly.
Oh, no.
Bubba Sparks. Bubba Sparks. Milk Bone.
And I also get G-Eazy.
Hey, he from Cali, though.
No, G-Eazy is, and I was like, I was thinking like, but he doesn't.
He's not on that yet.
No affiliation. Yeah. Like he's from the hood though, like in Oakland. But nah, he definitely doesn't.
Logic, if you want to throw him in there, because he's mixed. But he looks white, so we throw him in there. Nah, so yeah, you're right. Yeah, Darwin none.
I can't. Yeah, man. I mean. But Spanish, I would say, you said like Ramirez, your boy, that
yeah, Ramirez.
But Cypress Hill, like, I I didn't listen to a whole lot of it, but like Be Real shit. He Blood. I thought so, yeah. So I was like, that was like, I was thinking about diversity outside of traditionally African American rappers.
I think Big Pun was a gangster. I don't know if he banged or not, but Big Pun was definitely a gangster. I don't know if he was affiliated with nobody or not.
Yeah.
But he did. I remember Prodigy told a story where, like, he wanted Pun's crib, and like Pun like just had his gun out, and then Prodigy was like, "Yo, that's a nice gun. Like, this ain't nothing. Like, show him your gun. Show him your gun. Show him your gun. Show him your gun." And like everybody in school had guns and shit. Like, Prodigy, where you gun at? Like, man, I left mine in the car. I was trying to disrespect your crib. Like, nah, bro. See, we could have fucked you up right now. Don't ever leave your gun in your car, bro. You never know what's gonna happen.
Wow, bro. That's wild, this shit.
Pun was about the action, bro. Pun was about the action. From what I heard, Pun was about the action.
That's wild. Gangsta.
I heard you chased around Jay-Z one time.
Chased around Jay-Z?
Yeah, that's what I heard. Shit. I don't know how true that is. But that's what I heard that story. And I remember when 50 Cent did stuff, he was about to fuck that nigga up too.
Oh, Big Pun?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I remember 50 Cent made a song, How to Rob.
Yeah, How to Rob.
He was just dissing everybody.
Everybody, yeah.
Yeah. And cool, Big Pun was included in that shit too. So, like, he made it like, I won't say a diss track. He just said like a couple bars, like at one of his songs talking about 50.
Just like, oh,
yeah,
I'm about $1. Who the fuck is 50 Cent? What the fuck is 50 Cent? Oh, Asian rapper. You heard of China Mac?
I've heard that name.
Yeah, he's like affiliated gangster.
Is he really?
Like Chinese triad shit.
I just have heard that name before.
Triad.
Okay.
Triads and shit.
The only one I can think of was Jen.
Oh shit, yeah. I remember his ass Rough Riders and shit. But Gangsta's different now, I would say.
Yeah, but it's crazy how like Gangsta plays the part in like just rap in general, and I think that it comes with like the power. Like you see like gangsters in the street, like they got the money, they got the women, they got the clothes, the watches, and all that shit. It's like I want this shit too. So you know what I'm saying? So like I think that, and then it's a big example, Scarface, the movie Scarface, because I remember a long time ago, like I watched it for the first time in high school. Like one of my classmates had the DVD, so he let me borrow the joint. And then like one of the extras was like it was just all the rappers were talking about Scarface and how it was like so influential in hip hop. Like hell, you got a whole rapper whose rap name is Scarface. You know what I'm saying? Right. And like they was just talking about how like the dude had the money. He came from nothing. He was in jail, locked up. You know what I'm saying? Got out. You know what I'm saying? Started selling here and there. And next thing you know, he's like the biggest thing in the fucking world. So like a lot of people like looked up to that. You know that shit. So it makes sense, like why the
power. I really like that. I really like that idea you just brought up. The power. Yeah.
Power and the image, the power, yeah, all that shit.
Right, image and power. Yeah, definitely.
You know, and I don't blame them. Like shit, if I was like if I grew up like that, like if I grew up like you know what I'm saying, like in the hood, whatever. Like I didn't, but like if I grew up like in that environment, I probably would have been the same way, to be honest. So.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But like I was fortunate enough to like get to like being like I don't want to say middle class. I was kind of like in between low and middle. You know what I'm saying? Like, and my parents were both like prominent and like kicked me out that shit. Like I can't go nowhere. I'm gonna get like I can't go nowhere, bro. Like I went to school, went home. That was it. Unless I had like some concert shit I had to do. School and home. That was it. It wasn't until I actually graduated high school. I was actually like free to do whatever the fuck I wanted to do. It was like you're 18 now, do what the fuck you want. I was like, I bet. You know what I'm saying? At that point, it's like I don't want to do shit. I just want to stay the fuck at home. Until I got to college, then I started wilding a little bit. But I was like on some like street shit.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah, I definitely grew up. I grew up like Boston suburbs, upper middle class, and like just so far from all that shit. That for me, listening to gangster rap was just like, oh, this is some different shit. Like, this is kind of like, these are crazy ass stories. This is crazy shit. And like, really not having that connection. The only small connection I had was where my mom was from back in, in Queens, when we would go in the summertime. Each summer we go back to Queens. And it was like right on the corner of Southside Jamaica, Queens. So it was like, that was my only interactions I really had with the hood. But at the time it was like 50 in G Unit, so I thought it was fucking cool. I was like, oh shit. I'm in Lloyd Banks fucking oh shit. Like, you know what I mean? But of course, like me, just like kind of similar to your parents, my parents were definitely kind of shielded some of that and like definitely were. You know what I mean? But
and plus, I was the only child, so it was like they definitely made sure like
that you were gonna like
yeah. Like, and of course, like in school, like I still knew like niggas in gangs and like drug dealers. I knew a whole bunch of niggas. I was cool with everybody, so I still knew like what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, you were like aware. You were like aware of that shit.
This was a good ass topic though.
That was a good topic. No, I think that was a good topic, man. I think because again, we talked about last episode. We talked about for people that didn't hear it. Talked about death in hip hop, which was an uplifting topic. But it was a good time. It was a good show though. It was good. Yeah. Because we talked on a whole bunch of the mass grave that is fucking hip hop at times. So many people in there, all different names or whatever over the years. But I think we were talking about just the relation from that to the gangster shit, a lot of the violence that have been happening and shit.
Yeah, how that kind of like played a part somewhat in like a lot of the deaths, unfortunately. But that's America for you.
Right,
that's not even just America. That's life. That's just life.
No, it really is life. I was literally talking to you. I was saying how I was reading about the Yakuza, like, because I was really looking at before this episode. I was looking at just gangs in general, and like it's a worldwide thing. Obviously, like gang, violence, whatever. It's a worldwide thing.
Right.
From Japan, from Yakuza to the Sicilian Mafia to wherever in America, even the motorcycle gangs, all the fucking gangs. Like there's all kinds of gangs. And yeah, man. I mean, I feel you brought your own personal story about being like, shielded from all that. I definitely felt that. But when I came to DC, I started experiencing different shit. Being around different people. Once I left home, I started experiencing different shit. Getting to know different people who grew up way different than me. Who grew up in like some of the hardest neighborhoods. And then like...
Especially when we went to college, yeah. Definitely.
Talking to them, like I definitely was like, wow, like... Damn, and like you said, like you said, you probably would end up looking up to those same people because they got the money, they got the car, they got this.
Yeah, everybody's in the environment in like these
situations. Right, because I'm thinking about some people I met like about Anacostia in Southeast and like that area and that grew up in the '80s and shit. And like some dude like, oh man, I forget his name, man, but I was working with him for like 4 or 5 months. I remember he was talking about his personal life experience. He was locked up for 28 years.
Damn.
28 years, and he was like, because of some violent crime he had done, whatever. But he was talking to me. He was saying like, he told me the whole story and everything. But like, not to put him on blast, but just like, you're realizing that like, yeah, I mean, you grow up in that environment, you become like, don't judge. Like, you can't judge people, man. Only God can judge people. You can't judge people. Understand the environment that they're coming up in. You will likely be just like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why some of the gangster rap. Where you see you talk about America's response to it, especially white America, people from backgrounds like mine who might have had more, whatever, like not thinking it's a good thing or it's bad or whatever. One thing that gangster rap does do is give people an outlet.
Exactly. An
outlet. Like I'm friends with a guy like that literally it teaches hip hop production at a jailhouse in DC among young adolescents who've been, convicted of violent crime, whatever, and giving them an outlet, like giving them a way to express themselves and to let go of some of that shit is important. That's why I say gangster rap should still save gangster rap. It's not all bad. You can't say, and that's like funny. That's the thing about the Super Bowl that I was like, the NFL and some of the racist like owners of different teams and shit, they didn't like all that kneeling because they don't understand, they don't support it, like they're conservative, whatever it is. Like you can't say a segment of your own society is shit. I don't like those people. Those are the same people that work the jobs that get you your food or get your shit at a discount, or they work at the grocery store, or they're over here or over there. You can't really judge. How are you gonna judge people like that?
Exactly.
How are you gonna go and say, oh, well, Crip culture is not America. That's not American culture. Yes, it fucking is. It's in America. Right. So all those fucked up Reagan policies that contributed to that shit and the influx of drugs that were brought in not predominantly by African Americans, but brought in by white people and brought in by people in Vietnam and other shit. Like
that guns.
The guns,
it's like bro, like
would the Crips own a factory? Tell me they own a factory of guns. They don't own that shit.
They got all this shit coming from Russia and Cuba. Like these niggas ain't got a fucking passport. How they gonna get it? Somebody got a passport. I mean, I had one, but
right. Other people don't, right now. I mean, but yeah, like you're talking about.
I'm not going to get this shit. Hell no.
Right. I mean, so it's like all that gang culture. That's America. You love your country, but oh no, we don't like gangster rap. We don't like that. A lot of it's racism too, though, because they just think like,
Cause a lot of them didn't think rap was gonna last. They thought that shit was gonna end. They thought that shit was gonna end just like disco.
Yeah, it's a fad.
They thought it was gonna be a whole fad.
Yeah.
Here we are, almost 50 years later.
50 years later.
It'll be 50 years next year, bro. That's
fucking hilarious.
Yeah, bro. Like we still here, almost here, half a century. Still strong.
Still strong. And it's diverse too, though. It's like we're talking about gangster rap, but there's a whole bunch of shit. You mentioned Kanye and the shit's there. You know what I mean?
Like you got gangster rap, you got alternative rap.
Yeah, alternative rap. You know, I was gonna say right after Biggie and Pac got killed was the rise of Mos Def, Talib Kweli, Black Star, and some of that real all that came from 97, 98. That was right after. So that was kind of a response to some of that shit. So to your point, I was just thinking about them because
98 was a great year.
98 was probably one of the best. But then that was probably the best year.
You had DMX, you had Pun, Jay-Z.
Was Lauryn Hill 98?
That was
Lauryn Hill.
First female hip hop artist to go diamond.
That's wild, bro.
Oh yeah, I started doing like hip hop like today in hip hop. I started doing that.
I love those facts. Yeah, I love that shit. I love that.
I looked at it, I was like, oh shit, and that just happened last year too. Like it went down.
That's crazy. I didn't even realize that shit went down.
Right.
She really can't retire off that shit. That's crazy.
Right. And there's only like a handful of hip hop diamond albums too.
No, that's not many.
We could talk about that on like another joint though.
No, definitely. My point was just diversity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gangsta. That's one of the points I wanted to make was just like for people who think gangsta rap it is the only kind of rap. No, motherfucker. That might be the shit you heard on the radio. Because I grew up with some people that just were ignorant to it or just didn't like it or whatever. And so I feel like I had to constantly explain that. Like, no, if you fucking listen to any of the songs, you heard one song on the radio, you think that it's just this one fucking thing. Listen to the fucking album and listen to the last track and tell me that shit isn't soulful and tell me that shit isn't.
Like you hear one song from one artist, like I don't like the artist. I'm like, you only heard one song. At least give
the person a chance.
Right.
That's like meeting somebody and being like, oh, I don't like the way I don't like their eye color. Fuck that dude. Like, what? Fuck type of shit is that? You didn't even give him a chance. Like, you know what I mean? You can't. Nah, I think that's bullshit.
Right.
And gangster rap, if anything, the reason why it's so successful is because America, we like some guns and some war and some people getting shot. So you can turn around, look in the mirror, and be like,
we better go to war again.
About to go to war again. So I mean, like that's yeah. So it's really you really want to talk about it. You really want to go there. You know,
it's like the more you try to ban the shit, the more people are gonna listen to it.
Right, it's like prohibition, banning alcohol. People just gonna drink it. People gonna find a way.
I'm like, bro, if we just let the shit go, just let the shit.
It's really like the music isn't the enemy, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Even the drill artists, like, you know, Chief Keef, and right now Lil Durk is really hot and shit. Like,
oh yeah,
you know,
Pop Smoke when he was so loud.
Pop Smoke. I mean, all that shit. Like, it's music too. It's free expression. You know what I mean? And it is one thing to be like trying to like rally people together to fucking murder somebody. Like that might not. That's not protected under freedom of right, whatever. But like, if you know what I mean, what's to say that because you don't like what somebody else is saying, they should be silenced.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like I don't know about that. But anyway, I could just go on.
I said right. Don't want to make this joint too long.
No.
Right. But yeah, we go ahead and wrap this joint up. Any closing remarks?
No, I'm gonna shut up now. I'm good, bro.
Well, on that note, I'm your boy AJ.
Your boy Nick.
This Hip Hop Vibe Podcast. Catch y'all next time.
Peace.